Hello, my name is Shivakumar and thanks for watching Umoja Shots, where we deconstruct a complex solution in a simple and understandable form, taking one issue at a time. Today, we are going to talk about the training client, strategy and execution, and it's going to have a presentation, a movie, and a story. As I was pondering to explain the multiple layers and complexities of a Umoja application and how to translate them into a meaningful training environment, and I got an inspiration from a movie Interstellar to explain the concepts. The movie Interstellar is a film features a crew of astronauts who travel through a wormhole in search of a new home for humanity and able to go through the higher dimensions and able to view the whole picture. I strongly recommend that if you have an appetite for a good science fiction story. Back to our topic, where I will try to explain the complexity within our subject by drawing an analogy to these dimensions. If you have a single dimension object, a line, a two-dimensional object, a rectangle, a three-dimensional object, a cube, and a fourth dimension object, which is a tesseract, which is a length, width, a depth, as well as the time. A normal person can understand up to two dimensions, like a playing card, a bit more effort, a third dimension, and a real life objects, and our ability stops there as we cannot visualize the fourth dimension and beyond. Let's see the analogy to our work. Umoja's systems, enterprise rules, process design, and workflow respectively form those dimensions. A role catalog, which will be describing only one dimension of the enterprise role. A technical architecture explains only the systems. A process expert can explain the business process and charts, and a technical guru can explain you the workflow. We have put all together and came up with a agile but a scalable design in Umoja, and that we are going to utilize the same structure and all possible interaction between these processes in the training environment. This presentation is going to talk about the basic stuff so that it gives you the perspective of viewing all the four dimensions and how it's going to relate to a training environment. Let's go through one by one. The first dimension is the systems. All users who is going to touch the training environment, irrespective of their roles, will be able to touch all the four systems which are part of the Umoja ecosystem. The Umoja BI, Umoja transaction systems, Umoja procurement system, and the portal. And when we introduce the extension component, such as the travel and HR, we are going to have another functionality called organizational component, which is going to overlay into these systems. The second dimension is enterprise roles. We all know what an enterprise role is. But to make the life simpler in the training environment, we are not going to copy the enterprise role which we have in production. As against, we have come up with four basic enterprise roles. They are instructor, trainer, trainee, and staff and non-staff. An instructor is a named user and they can create and change data across the entire training environment. We are going to talk about what a hub in the subsequent slides. A trainer is also like the named user who can create and change data across the hubs, and a trainee or the generic set of user IDs where the trainees can utilize them for a certain period of time to create change data within the assigned hub. Staff and non-staff IDs are used to replicate the staff request and approval process based on your course or the curriculum. The instructors are the people who differentiate themselves from the trainer in the sense the instructors are the one who will be the people responsible for creating the content which the trainers and trainee will consume. The third dimension is the process design. In Umoja, it's very easy to put the process in a set of pattern. In Umoja Foundation, you always have a pattern of a preparation of a transaction, and the transactions falling into commit to procure, a transaction falling into procure to pay, prepare to pay, payments, and reconciliation buckets. And on the same topic, the extension part starts with the requesting, verification and approval, and the recording function. In terms of the process design, the training environment remains the same as that of your PIT as well as the user validation systems. And the fourth dimension is the workflow. If I take the process pattern and put it on the actual transaction, you will have the transactions such as requisitioning, order, invoices, and treasury payments. And on the extension side, you will have a self or administrated services and the HR partner or respective partner approval and the record updation. And if you see closely, most of the transactions in these pattern do have workflow. To make the workflow process seamless and easy and scalable and agile in the training environment, all instructor, trainer, trainee will be a part of the entire approver list. And the approver work center is the functionality in the extension part which will be extensively used to select the approval which belongs to you. And also, since you are going to have a different set of user category in the training, which means a bunch of people will be creating the travel request at the same time, there might be a delay or there might be a changes in the system response. Be patient, the system will work exactly as you are expected. Based on all these four dimensions, I can confidently say all these processes, the microprocesses, which utilize the cost object and the master data in terms of the grants and budget, travel, funds, HR, procurement, and the financial management will work exactly as it has been designed for Umoja productive environment. Let's take the functionality or the discussion into the systems strategy. When it comes to the training system, we have only one instance of SAP, which is called T1E, which is the enterprise core component, which is the backend SAP system, which will have three clients, 500, 510, and 520. And we have three portals, each linking to the specific client, which is T1J, T2J, and T3J. And these three clients are created for certain specific purpose, and they are like this. The first training content development client is dedicated for instructors, and that is to be executed through the portal T1J, and it is linked to the client 500. And the reason for this is the place where the instructors will be staging or which will be creating the content for the training. The next is the client 510 and the portal T2J, which will be the actual training environment where the instructors, the trainers, and the trainees will be working together to stage the content, train, and utilize the training courses to do the trainee part of the process. And the last one is the client 520, and which is linked to T3J, which is the training sandbox, and where the trainees will be able to get in and try to continue their training sessions after the training is complete. So in these three silos, the training environment, which is the client 510 and T2J, is of our concern, where we are going to be concentrating our training totally. In the training, what we have done is we have created 5 hubs. The hubs are the actual data containment ports for the training to be conducted in a specific location data component. The 5 hubs are: Hub 1 is the Bangkok Operations Center, Hub 2 is the Nairobi Operations Center, Hub 3 is for MINUSCA, Haiti, and Hub 4 is for OCHA, which contains OCHA New York and as well as OCHA Geneva component, and Hub 5 is the New York Operating Center, where we have got the data of Department of Management. And as we explained, all the modules other than the procurement will utilize the 4 basic set of enterprise role, which is an instructor, trainer, trainee, or staff or non-staff. So if you are you should be a part of one of these user category to get into the system. And on the procurement side, you're going to have more fragmented enterprise roles compared to the other modules, where you will have a requisitioner and a HQ requisitioner, a low value acquisitioner, approver, buyer, and so on and so forth. But what we are trying to do is we are trying to consolidate everything in one, so that you will have a one set of users where you can assign and where you can conduct your training, and then after the conduction of the training, they can go to the sandbox to explore more of the training material with the data set and the access set as we have described. And the next one, we'll take the hubs and give you more information on that. In terms of each and every hub, you will be given 60 user IDs as a trainee. And also, we have created a bunch of 100 new user IDs which can be utilized for the scenarios in your HR, such as onboarding or initial appointment or new recruitment. So what will happen is, when you do the initial appointment, after that you pick up one of the new users we have already created and assign them to your info type 105, and those users will become the employee self-service capable without any intervention from the technical team. And also what we have done is we have created 100 ESS users per hub for your to match your training expectations. And also we have SRM users 15 per hub at this moment as a separate set before we merge it together. And another dimension of seeing it from a HR perspective is all these 5 hubs are categorized into these master cost center as a grouping. So if you have a master cost center HR 019, that grouping belongs to Bangkok Operating Center. Then let's take a little bit of an approach on all these user IDs and see how the roles are assigned. If you see the user IDs for all the 5 hubs, which is the trainee hub IDs, which starts from H1, which is the first 2 characters represent the hub, and the train, and 001 is the sequential number of your trainee ID. And if you see that these IDs are assigned to all PA, time, OM, travel, and benefit roles, and also on the foundation side, they will have all the FM, FI, real estate, and all MDM roles. In addition to that, they will be assigned as a primary time manager, line manager, and the OM manager. And on top of it, they will also have all certification and approval capability. So all the enterprise role assignment will be done to these users, and also the workflow tables are aligned in such a way the same set of people will be the approvers. Bear in mind, the person who is creating the request will be eliminated from the list of approvers. So no transaction can be approved by the same person who created the transaction. So it's advisable as a trainee, as a trainers and the instructors, make sure you have a clear idea and orchestration of how you're going to conduct the class based on your course and based on the workflow steps which are inbuilt in your course content. And also, we have taken this into one step ahead for your certification and approval. We have created these organizational component. We have created the fund and the cost centers belonging to them, so that when you utilize these set of cost objects in your requisition or order transactions, the certification and approve will follow the same silos. The login and password credentials are very similar to any training environment. All the instructors are all named users, so the password resetting or maintenance belongs to them individually. So does the trainers. Only for the trainees, where the IDs are generic, the IDs are the passwords are based on an algorithm, and it will change every month or on demand. As of today, the password for all the trainees is Umoja 105, and all the self-service users, where the password will not change and it will be Umoja 123. And please bear in mind, do not change the password for any of these employee self-service or the trainee IDs during your training session. Otherwise, you will start creating confusion or inadvertently locking the user IDs because of the wrong password execution. To give an example of a process, a document flow travel, where a travel document is created with the fund 10 UNA and the cost center 11338 and the travel office Bangkok, will be routed to all H1 trainers for certification and all the H1 trainers for the approval, because these cost objects belongs to the hub 1. And remember, if H1 train 001 creates a document, he will be removed from the certification process. And if the certification is done by H1 train 002, then both of them will be removed for the approval process. So in this example, it is a two-step approval and a one-step creation. So my advice or my recommendation is to have at least 3 people in the group so that your training can happen in such a way all 3 can keep on playing the roles of a creator, certifier, and approver in succession. And on another example of a leave request, and a leave request from a UNON ESS staff will be routed to the hub 2, which is the Nairobi operating center set of time approvers, and depending upon the absence type, it might even go to HR approval. In those cases, it is the same set of users who will be getting it. The next is a movie, and which is called Lost, which is correctly a term. When you are going to have a training environment and you are being the user and the approver for all sorts of documents, you're going to get confused with all sorts of documents coming to your inbox. And how you are going to pick up and certify the documents you have created, or how you are going to create filter the documents which belongs to you for the next step of processing. And this is available in YouTube, and here is the link. And I will if you see my comment section, I will post this URL where you will be able to see a movie which explains you the details of how to filter and how to select the document of your interest and how to continue the process. The next is the small story. In 5 years ago, if I have to travel to Entebbe, Uganda, I would first grab a map of Entebbe and start understanding the areas where to stay, the things to do, the places to eat, the mall to shop, etc. In essence, the planning happens well in advance and hoping that the things on the plan work out the way it has been planned. Wait, hope cannot be a plan. You may end up in a place where you do not have plan and now you want to eat, and unfortunately or fortunately you happen to be a vegetarian like me, and you need to know the restaurants nearby that serves the food of your choice. What do? You have to ask someone on the street or a shopkeeper, because the documents which you have created before coming to Entebbe is irrelevant because the things are happening not as planned as you have done before. Let's take the story to now. If you have such a situation, you will be taking out your mobile phone and launch the map application and locate where you are and show the vegetarian restaurants nearby, and bingo, you have the list now. Did you see the difference? The nature of the map changed from a plain old two-dimensional picture to a context-sensitive, zoomable and searchable function. And the key point of the story is that the focus is changed from the map to you. This is exactly what we have done here in Umoja. We have developed an application to change the context of looking the organizational partners and processes as a snapshot. Instead, we have done the same thing, looking at everything from the user perspective. Before that, I'll give you a small background of Umoja security to give you the appreciation of what this application is going to help you in from the training perspective. The Umoja user management has a dualism. It has a user access and also have a structural authorization or control points. The user access determines what you can do, and the structural authorization or the control points determine where you can do. The combination of the assignment to the user provides the capability of the user performing those functions into those areas where they have been assigned to. In this example, if the user is assigned with a HR partner role with a structural authorization of an organizational unit, he or she will be able to do the transactions and be able to approve the workflows and also do the self-service on that organizational entity where he or she has been assigned. This is not a matter of concern for us right now. The concern is the employee self-service. With the invention of the Umoja extension part, you are going to have a fairly large population of users who are going to have only the employee self-service, which means they'll be able to update their personal information and entitlement, able to request their travel, time, and benefit and payment, and all associated life and work events. Once you get into start working on Umoja, this is what's going to happen to a normal user. They will be lost on the very first day with the very basic questions: who are all my partners? What am I authorized to do in the system? Where am I in the organization? What are my personalization options? If I'm going to create a leave request, as a user, I need to know who are all my approvers. If I'm going to create an entitlement request, I need to know my HR partners. Even though I don't deal with them directly, but I need to know where the documents will be routed. So in this, to remove this confusion, what we have done, we remembered the context sensitive map. So what we want to do is, instead of giving every user like a letter of appointment, a clean sheet of paper with all their partners, we created an application and put the user in the center of information, which means the report will be a context sensitive based on the employee, and it will report real time. So when the user runs this application, he or she will be able to see all their approvers on that particular moment before the transaction is created, all their roles and their guidance on each and every process and their parameters, and they'll also show their enterprise structure where they belong and the whole organizational component. And that application, that magic application, is called user map. The user map sometimes it looks like this, and the top part is going to explain the employee, which is me, and the organization, where what I am and where am I staying in the organizational chart. And second thing is, it's going to list all the partners and all the partners which are groupable and also searchable. The next tab is going to tell you I am partner too. The user can also be an HR partner for certain organizational units. So that tab is going to explain where that user is partnered to. And the next one is what I am authorized to do in terms of the enterprise role, and also all help on documents. Like it explains you if it is going to be a leave workflow, how many workflow steps are involved, and if you create the leave today, who will be the recipient of this leave request. With these two strong application, approval work center and the user map, pretty much you can manage all your training expectations and also trainee expectation, and it will make you a very powerful they will make you a very powerful companion for conducting successful training. Thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure, and for more information and questions, send me a note or keep watching this channel. Thank you and bye-bye.